Hi, everybody. So it's Wednesday. It's that magical moment where both my boys are sleeping. And my husband, Scott, is out on a bike ride. So I'm the only one awake in the house except for Blake, who I don't even know where he is. So I thought I'd take a minute to put together a video and just talk a little bit. And what I wanted to talk about is interesting to me. So I thought somebody else might find it interesting is comparing my two C-sections that I had with my boys. So, with Oliver, he was a scheduled C-section because he was breech and he was not moving. So, not moving like he stopped moving in the womb, like he just wasn't going to turn. He was just too big in there and there was not enough room, so he was stuck butt first. So, he was supposed to be born on November 26th in 2013, which was a Thursday, which was a Tuesday. Excuse me. He was born on a Thursday, and my water broke on November 21st, which was the Thursday that came before. So went ahead and had that baby taken out. And then with Kian, almost the same thing happened. He was supposed to be born on April 6th. He was just going to be a scheduled repeat section. I didn't really have any interest in laboring or VBACing or trying to labor. And power to you if you want to do that. It just wasn't something I wanted to go through personally. I knew how to deal with a C-section, and that's just what I wanted to do. So anyway, so he was scheduled to come out into the world on April 6th, and instead my water broke very, very early on Monday, April 3rd, and out he came. So to compare the two is interesting because they were born at two different hospitals. Oliver was born at the hospital I worked at the time, and it was smooth. There were no complications or anything. However, I will never, ever, ever forget the pressure and the tugging and the pulling. And they tell you to expect that with a C-section, of course. Not that you're going to feel like the sharp or the burning or anything, and I didn't feel that. But the amount of pressure that I felt when they were pulling him out and then putting all my stuff back together, that was so incredibly intense that the CRNA, God bless her, she basically just gave me a Versed nap, and then when I woke up, they were just like finishing sewing me up on the outside, and that was that. But I remember the spinal didn't take as well when they first put it in, like it was going all straight to like my legs, because I could feel when they were like pinch you to see if your stomach is numb. I kept feeling everything, so that was just freaking me out. I was like, no, I still feel everything. So they had to turn me Trendelenburg to make the spinal go where it needed to go, and eventually did, obviously. So that's what I remember from that. Other than that, it was fine. My recovery was like beautiful. I wasn't in a ton of pain. And then with Kian, that was so much better. Oh my gosh, just night and day. Now, what is funny is when I went to triage, when my water broke, and I knew it had broken. I'd been through this before. I was a nurse. I was an L&D nurse for a short while. So I knew it was my water. It wasn't anything else. My water had broken. But then when I went to triage, there was like no fluid coming out at the time. So they did a couple of things. There's a couple of tests that they can do to prove that it's your water broken. The nitrazine test was negative. The Ferning test was negative. And they were like, the nurse told me, we can do one more, which is an amniosure. And if that comes back negative, then we have to send you home. And I'm like, what? I'm not going to go home. My water broke. Like, what else could it be if my water didn't break? And finally, that one was a faint positive. And I think what had happened, Kian has a large head, like Oliver does, like I do. And I think once my water broke and I had like a small initial gush, and then like a half an hour later, I had a bigger gush. And so I think his head was just so engaged that it was just blocking anything else from coming out. So I think that's what happened. Like no more fluid is coming out. So thank God that AmnioSure was positive. Um, Otherwise, it was almost day shift. I was just gonna like wait an hour and wait till the day shift came on and be like, no, my water's broken, so someone's gonna need to cut me right now. And luckily, my doctor was on call, and I was very happy. But to the actual C-section part, that spinal was so good. I had no idea that it even started. Like I had to ask if they had started cutting me open because I was so numb that it was more painful than I remember with Oliver when they were putting it in, and maybe that's the difference. I don't know. So that part was painful, but like I was just so numb. I could feel nothing, not even no tugging, no pulling, no nothing, and it was fantastic. I didn't have to have a Versed nap or anything. So, it was really just night and day. I mean, both procedures went smoothly. They both had the same result. Although my scar this time on one side is a little odd looking, so I don't know what happened there. But anyway, so that's the difference between the two C-sections. And I think that's it because Kian is our last baby we have decided. So no more C-sections or anything for me. And we'll be with our two boys. And then recovery the second time was, I guess, a little tougher, but I'd already knew what to expect, so I just stayed on top of my pain meds and took things slow and blah, blah, blah. And they say, like, breastfeeding speeds recovery with C-section or causes less pain or something. I don't know. But both times I was, like, back to really feeling myself at, like, 2 weeks, and I pretty much stopped taking pain meds. Maybe, like, a Motrin, but... So that's that. So don't be afraid of C-sections, honestly. Go in... I'd say go in knowing that it's a possibility that it could happen. But it's honestly... I don't want to say it's not a big deal because it is major surgery. I think people forget that. It's major abdominal surgery. They have to cut through all those layers, cut through your muscles, cut through your uterus and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's not... it's controlled for the most part, unless... I mean, I've seen crazy things happen and what we think are, standard regular C-sections, then just stuff hits the fan, But generally, it's controlled, and everyone knows what they're doing, and things are fine. Okay. Maybe next time I'll talk about like C-section recoveries and how to best recover, and take it easy, and from my own experiences. But yeah, so that's comparing my first C-section to my second C-section. About 3.5 years apart. So my body was perfectly, like, completely, totally healed from when I had Oliver's. And they're both here in the world, and everything is fine. All right. So I'll talk to you guys on Friday. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Let me know if you have anything you want me to talk about as far as mommyhood, breastfeeding, being a working mom, and working the midnight shift. That is certainly something I would definitely talk about. Pumping, things like that. I want to touch on all those things. So let me know, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.